Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. So grateful to be here with you guys today. It's Monday, the Monday after the 4th of July. I hope everybody had a really, really incredible weekend and had fun and it was safe and it was good. And there are just so many things that are happening in July, and I really want to get a hold on all of that. I really want to dive into all of the energetics that are going to be coming up. And all of that is really kicking off this month. And at the end of this month, we have Lionsgate that is opening up. And if you have been in my world for a while, then you know that Lionsgate is my absolute favorite time of the year. It is so potent, so powerful, and it just brings up so many good things for all of us. So my name is Renee Massey. For anybody who is new to my world, I am a psychic medium. I am a human design coach. I am an astrologer. And there's so many different things that I do. It's very difficult for me to not bring in everything. But really my focus is to support your leadership, whether that is as an executive, as a business owner, entrepreneur. I want to support your leadership through psychic strategy, coaching, and really getting very clear on what is happening in your astrological natal chart, as well as your human design. Because what I have noticed is that when we look, have you ever noticed that some people are like, my astrology doesn't really make all that much sense to me. I can read my horoscope, I can look at all of these different things, and sometimes it just really doesn't make any sense to me. So when I started bridging human design and astrology together, it's an alchemy that I have really curated myself, okay? Because I started studying human design about 3 years ago, and it was easier for me, I think anyway, because of all of my 25 plus years of working with astrology and doing birth charts since I was 18 years old. And so because of that, I've noticed that when people say to me that their astrological chart doesn't make sense to them, it's because they're not living in their human design. So the human design component is a quantum mechanical circuitry that utilizes astrology, your chakra system, Kabbalah, quantum mechanics, and it actually brings so many things to life for you because you can understand all of the different ways that your energy desires to function based on how you were designed. The astrological stuff is like you have a fingerprint, a cosmic fingerprint based on when you took your first breath, and there are going to be many different shifts and changes that occur in your life that are geared towards your evolution that will present itself over many years of your life from the time you were born until you die. Okay? And so when I fuse these two together, what I notice is that they work off of each other. And if you actually can get in alignment with your human design, the astrology is actually going to make so much more sense. So that is what I've started to teach, and that is what I've started to offer to my clients. And I am seeing extraordinary, magical, huge, impactful, collapsing time kind of shifts. Meaning I'm able to pinpoint different things within the human design and the astrology, tie them together, and really give like such a forensic focal point for somebody that they can see exactly how they're being blocked, where they're being blocked, where it came from, and then how to release it. Because astrology doesn't really focus on how you're being conditioned in life. Astrology does not hone in on the different areas that you are experiencing programming, conditioning, okay, trauma. And when you look at your human design and you see how the centers are, you're going to see exactly where the conditioning lands. And so that's where I see the mechanics of your energy. Hello, Miss Patricia. And then for the astrology is where I see specific alignments taking place in transits and just different placements within different houses that are here to really help you shine, okay? And utilizing that energy along with the human design. And that is where I have developed such an incredible psychic strategy, okay? So we have a lot of stuff going on in July astrologically, okay? This is going to impact you in so many different ways, and it's already started because Neptune went retrograde on July 4th in Aries. Now, Neptune has a 165-year transit. And because of this 165-year transit, it will spend about 12 to 15 years in each astrological sign, and it does vary only because of the retrogrades, okay? So now that Neptune has gone retrograde, and really what Neptune is all about, like Neptune is all about mysticism. It's about illusion, dreaming, daydreaming, creativity, psychic connection, intuition. You have to imagine that Neptune is the counterpart of Poseidon and rules the waters and the depths of the waters. And the thing is that even if you are standing on the surface of the water looking down, you cannot see very far, right? In the depths of the ocean, you cannot see what's happening within the waters, right? Which is what makes it so mysterious, which makes it so mystical, which also makes it kind of illusory, because you can kind of imagine so many different things, right? And so with that, anytime Neptune goes retrograde, what it's basically saying to you is, I am going to reveal a lot of new things to you. You are going to be very surprised based on the different breakthroughs that you experience within your psyche. This is going to be a big third eye activation for you. And there's going to be a lot of adjustments that take place in terms of how you are viewing your reality. And that is the wisdom of Neptune, is like really being able to see the reality Neptune has the ability to create some fogginess around that reality. And this is where, again, programming and conditioning come into play, because there are things that you believe about yourself that are not fact. There are things that you don't believe are possible, but they are not fact. There are things that you dream of, but you don't think you will ever attain, but it's not fact-based. It's based on belief. It's based on experience. It's based on what you've observed, and it's based on illusion. And the 3D is the place, by the way, where illusion really runs free. And there's certain times of the year where that veil of illusion is starting to kind of dissipate and worlds connect and things become so much more clear and vibrant and stuff like that. And so I would say that it is Beltane, May 1st. That is a time of, like, those few days is where you are going to experience the veil is thin, spirit is here, like there is not this big disconnect between us at all, and things just seem to be very clear. You have clarity, you can see, you have vision, right? Halloween, Samhain, that is the other time that it's very clear, because everything is very open, the veil is thin, there is a connection between all things, and then you have the times where Neptune goes retrograde. And so this is very big for us right now, because it's pulling the curtain back. It's pulling the curtain back for you to see what is real and what is not real, because what you have perceived as like, this isn't going to work, it's not going to happen, I have to do this and I have to do that, and all these different things have to come together in order for it to be effective. First of all, where are you getting this data from? That's where, like, I would ask myself that, like, and I have asked myself that, because there are beliefs that I have too, right? And so, yes, for sure, Eric. And I'm so glad you said that, because in the days that are surrounding this retrograde, it is so much more potent. It's like you get this boom, this kick, and it's like showing you so much stuff that you were like, whoa, this is becoming more clear. Oh my gosh, I didn't see this before. I didn't realize this before. And it's gonna feel like somebody lit a fire under your ass. You know, like, I can do this. This is possible for me. Now it's just like fine-tuning things and figuring out the steps that you need to take, hi, Miss Robin, in order for you to actually move this energy forward, right? Now, the other component here is that Uranus today is going into Gemini. This is a really big deal too, because Uranus has what, an 84-year orbit around the sun. And so what's interesting is that, like, you're not going to see a Neptune return. Like, it takes 165 years for Neptune to do its thing all the way around the sun. But with Uranus, this is really, really, really potent. This is big, juicy stuff. And Uranus is all about freedom, liberation. It's about setting yourself free from something that's been holding you back. And so the other component of this that I really want to stress is that you go through different you go through really key transits with Uranus that you might not be aware of. Okay, so the first transit that you have with Uranus is when you're 21, because Uranus is all about breaking free. It's about liberating. It's about freedom. It's about independence. It's about going to your own rhythm, your own drum. It is not about following what everybody else is doing. So you are breaking away from the norm at the same time that stuff is being peeled back and revealed to you. Can you feel that in your life right now? Can you feel how you're like, whoa, something's being made really clear to me. I'm actually starting to understand this so much better. It's actually feeling a lot easier. I can see it. I can feel it. I can witness this. I can encounter this and actually embody this right now. And then the other part is that you're like, yes, I'm actually going to go and I'm going to do it. I'm actually going to take the actionable steps to make this happen and bring it into manifestation. So this is the other component about Uranus that is going to be so absolutely like fabulous over the next I think it's, hold on, Uranus will not transit again until 2038. 2038. So we are going to have Uranus and Gemini until 2038. Okay. Now these bigger planets, once they enter a new sign, just like Neptune did this year, just like Saturn did this year, just like Uranus is doing and Jupiter is doing, they are slow. And so what's going to happen is they are going to all experience these retrogrades, a little bit of different times, but what's going to happen is it's actually going to push them back into the sign that they were in. So Saturn is going to go retrograde next week, I think a week from today. And so it just entered Aries. And so at some point it's going to start backsliding into Pisces. Neptune entered Aries on March 30th. It just went retrograde at 2 degrees Aries. It is going to backtrack into Pisces, okay? So Saturn and Pisces, Saturn is going to go back to Pisces. Saturn and Neptune are in Aries, but they will backtrack to Pisces. So what does this mean for you? This means that you are going to have to revisit some of the things that you experienced in that particular transit. Okay, so it's going to feel like, yes, all of this new energy, new this, new that, and new thoughts, new ideas, because when Uranus goes into Gemini, there is just this complete unlocking of ideas and creativity and versatility and movement and all that kind of stuff. It wants you to move and get things done. And not in an aggressive way, because Gemini is not aggressive. It's a mutable sign. It's an air sign. It's very thinking oriented, communicative. It wants to generate a lot of good thoughts and ideas and creativity because it wants to move things along. Okay. And so what's going to happen when Uranus is now in Gemini is you are going to have an opportunity to retell your story. Because the story that you've had, the narrative that you've been living by and clinging to, and the one that has been fueling you is also holding you back. That same storyline that you felt lit a fire under your ass months ago, 6 months ago, I would say, that is actually starting to feel like I got to get away from this narrative. I got to get away from this storyline. It's actually holding me back because not only did it give me the fuel that I needed to launch me into a new direction, but now I'm actually noticing that if I've held on to the story and I haven't reestablished a new story for my new direction, it's actually going to start holding me back. Okay. And so when Uranus backtracks into Taurus again, which is going to happen, that is going to help you restabilize some of this very heightened moving energy. But it might not feel that way. It might feel like a bit of heaviness, but we will get there when the time is right. Okay. Because other than the Neptune going retrograde on July 4th, other than Uranus entering into Gemini today, we have the full moon in Capricorn on Thursday. Okay. And so this to me feels like a lot of resilience. It feels like a lot of responsibility, but in a really positive way if you know how to angle it correctly. Because the thing is with Capricorn, I have a Capricorn rising. Capricorn is a cardinal earth sign, and it wants to create foundations. It wants to create something that it can build upon, okay? And so in order for you to really restructure your foundation to build something very strong upon, or you are just kind of making some tweaks to your foundation because you realize that you built a bunch of stuff on there, but it's starting to crack. If you're a manifesting generator, you may know this to be true, because what do Mani-Gens do? We skip steps. We skip steps. We skip steps because we don't need to go through all the steps, okay? But if there are critical steps that you missed, if you're a 3 line, if you're a 6 line, if there are critical steps that you missed, you are going back and you are going to have to redo them, okay? So what that means is, for this particular full moon on Thursday, I want you to know that it is going to remind you of how resilient you are, how powerful you are, how strong you are, what a strong builder you are, that you can construct anything and you can also restore anything, right? Because it's not just about building something strong, but it's about knowing. It's like the Tower card. It's like whenever somebody pulls the Tower card, when I pull it, I reshuffle. But just kidding. But when people pull the Tower card, I always see it as like a very Capricorn energy, because you can build something really strong, but it doesn't mean that there's going to be certain parts of that structure that are going to all remain uniform and strong in the same way over the same amount of time. And so that Tower card to me means that like certain things have to come down and have to come apart. And then what you do is you examine which bricks want to be part of the new structure and which bricks need to be replaced with new bricks. Okay, so those bricks are, you know, they're chipped, they're cracked, the corners are not perfect. Like these are not bricks that you want in your tower. You do not want to build with those bricks, and therefore they all have to come down, and some of them are getting completely extracted, removed, and discarded. And thank you so much for being here. And then we're looking at these bricks over here, and we're like, okay, these are perfect. I love these. I love the way this is going. But at the same time, I need to reinforce them with stronger bricks, because all of these are now gone. And if I want to build my tower stronger, more reinforced, and really harness some very generous energy within that foundation to build up, then I have to make sure that, first of all, I'm taking full responsibility, radical self-responsibility, which is always very comfortable for all of us, right? We want to take radical self-responsibility. Wherever you are in your life right now, you have gotten here from a series of your decisions. Okay? Some things have happened to you. Some things are based on completely your choice. But even the things that happen to you, how you manage that and how you deal with it afterwards is completely your choice. Okay? So what we want to do here is we want to take that responsibility. It's going to feel yucky. There's an ick that comes along with it. But when you allow that ick to be there and you realize that ick isn't so bad, there are other things that are actually so much worse than sitting in a little bit of your ick for a while. You start to realize that I can take responsibility for my life. I am the leader. I am the one that is leading myself forward. And if I intend to lead other people forward, the most important thing for me to remember is that I'm responsible and to be accountable as a leader. And that means sometimes I may make mistakes. Sometimes I drop the ball. Sometimes I don't finish what I start, Mani-Gen. And that's okay. Sometimes I get bored and I drop things like a sack of potatoes or a sack of bricks, really, because it's like, this isn't lighting me up anymore. I don't want to do this anymore, and I'm done with it, and you pull the plug. So it's a very normal thing for a Mani-Gen to be that way, okay? To drop things and to pull the plug on things. But you have to ask yourself, why am I doing it? Is this a knee-jerk reaction, or is this truly, truly from the depths of my soul? Because this is not for me. This is not for me right now, right? So what we're going to do is, I would like, if anybody is here that wants to ask a question, please feel free to ask that question, okay? And so yeah, Patricia's saying yes. Robin's here. Okay. So one of the things, if anybody wants to ask a question in regards to these transits or how it's going to impact stuff within your business, stuff like that, please put it in the comments. I did want to explain a couple other things about Uranus and some of the different things that it does offer us, because there are these powerful transits that come along with Uranus. And so if you are 21 years old, you are going through your Jupiter opening square. Okay, and guess what? Remember, Uranus is all about breaking through, or breaking free. And so that is, when you're 21 and you're like, I'm going to do something crazy, and it could be tattoos, it could be piercings, it could be, just like traveling on the endless road trip with your friends with no real plan. It can be, you know, taking drastic moves to like restyle your hair, your wardrobe, you know, doing a makeover of sorts. But there's something that happens at 21 where you really just break free of something that's been holding you back, which at 21, that's the first one, and it is from your childhood. It is breaking free from the structures and the different foundations that were created in your childhood, because now you have to go your own path. Now you have to find your own way. Okay. The second one that shows up is going to be at 42 years old. Guess how old this lady is? I will be 43 in October. So what I wanted to talk about with that is this is the Uranus opposition. In human design, this is when your south node shifts into your north node, okay? And astrology is going to be a little bit different. Your south node is from your previous incarnation that brought you to this one. And so it's all the lessons that you learned in that last life. In this life, you are in your north node, which mine is Cancer in the 6th house, which kind of gives you this umbrella, this just umbrella of basically like what this life is all about, okay? And if you constantly go back to the south node in astrology to live your life, you will keep learning the same lessons over and over again in that until you clear it, break free, and start really honoring your north node in astrology. But in human design, when Uranus hits the opposition at 42 and that energy starts building a few years beforehand, you start to notice that there is a shift that's taking place. And so you have like your Jupiter return at 36, which opens up a new pathway of growth. Then around 38, you start to notice that there is another shift. And this is when you start to kind of feel the effects of your Uranus opposition. And at 42, the nodes shift from south to north in human design. So if you are studying human design, you would want to see which gates those nodes in your conscious north and south node are being impacted. And it was crazy. Like for me, I went from the gate of joy to stillness, the mountain, and they are different. They're different. Like the joy one for me was just like optimism and playfulness and just being like really like joyful. And I could totally see that in my life, especially my younger years when I was bartending and serving and I spent so much time around people. And now it's shifting into stillness, which is more of, this is connected into the root center, and it's a more grounded and peaceful and much more steady energy, okay? So I can feel how that has shifted in my life, and it's taken on this, not different personality, but I can feel something different. I can feel how when I'm encountering certain things, I used to have a different way, and now I have a different way. And it's just very interesting to see that shift. And so if you are in your 40s and you're very curious about this, then please let me know, because I would love to work through this with you. And this is also, when you go through the Uranus opposition, you are looking at how you're not necessarily reinventing yourself, but you're recognizing what has worked over the past 20 years and what is no longer working. And so that could be a lot of different things, right? There's certain things that I will always hold on to and I will always exude in my energy field and I will always embody, right? Because there are just certain things that will always stay with me. Now, there's certain things that I'm going to be cutting off. Okay, and that is actually going to help me move in my own individual liberated flow to be my own person. And this is what happens at midlife. Some people have a crisis, right? Like some people have a crisis and they're like, I don't know what to do because I feel like the hourglass is running down and I feel like I've given so much time to this and I've taken so much time to put in that and da 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 da. And you start to recognize where all of your obligations and your responsibilities have been. You also ask yourself, what do I want for myself now? How do I want to live my life? What am I a yes for? What am I a no for? Like, what do I desire? And what is going to set me free? Okay, and so that is the Uranus opposition. Then you have the Uranus closing square, which happens around 63. And that is actually going to help you make some significant moves going towards retirement, really carving out how you want to live the rest of your life. And that is going to happen, within a couple of years of your second or third wait, no, second Saturn return. You have your first one at 29, you have your second one at about 58, and then that prepares you for what is going to happen when you go into your closing Uranus square. So many different things, so much energy. There is more coming, there is more going on, and so I have created 5 openings for the uncensored sessions, and this session is really going to help unlock and unveil some massive shifts that are going to be coming up for you. So anybody that does want to book this session with me, just know that I will be utilizing your astrological placements, and I will be utilizing your human design body graph, and also my psychic strategic skills to help you move this energy and take actionable steps towards what you desire, while also being able to pinpoint and like forensic, like I'm so fucking forensic. I will forensically pinpoint what is going on in your mindset, in your emotions, in your energy field, in your business. I will scan you, I will pinpoint it, and I will help you shift the energy so that you can have clarity, so that you have actionable steps, so that you feel like you are on the path to your goals and actually executing them along the way. Okay? So really, really big stuff going on this week. And then, of course, Saturn goes retrograde. I think we have another planetary shift. And then Lionsgate. And that will be on July 26th. So lots of very heightened energy in July. I don't know how you felt about the first half of 2025. But to me, it was difficult, okay? Does feel out of sorts today, right? It's because the all of this stuff is shifting, Robin. All of this stuff is shifting. And so it's like the way it always, like I see it in my mind's eye, because I'm very clairvoyant, is like these tectonic plates that can be, you know, like it's your life. I see all of this as puzzle pieces, tectonic plates, puzzle pieces, fractals of energy, pixelations, like your identity is so much bigger and so much more intricate than what I think we have perceived of ourselves, right? We've picked up identities along the way. Some of them have served us well. Some of them we've outgrown and we're ready to move on. And sometimes it's hard to put that identity down when we've been holding on to it for so long. And so many different shifts taking place right now. And it's like this wonky transition period. Of course, full moon is on Thursday. And so that energy is going to start building up. You're going to start really feeling it tomorrow. Maybe you're feeling it already because you're super sensitive to that. And that's completely possible. I mean, it really, really is. I just started my cycle yesterday, so did one of my daughters, and the other one just finished. And so, you know, our house is very interesting right now. But, you know, full transparency, the first 6 months of this year have been challenging. And I have felt challenged. I have felt like I shed a lot of tears the first half of 2025. I've cleaned up a lot of energy. I've purged so much. But I think one of the things that I have really done in all of this is release old beliefs about me, release old beliefs about what is true, what is real, what is possible. And the wonkiness of that limitlessness that we have for ourselves, but also the restraining heaviness and grounding of third density life, right? And so, and those of you who know me, like you've known me for a while, and like this is where I started my business, is really helping empaths, those who are spiritually gifted and blocking it, those who are, you know, searching for quantum healing and activation, really supporting that. And my goal, I think, and it's in my human design, is to always restore what people believe has been broken. that it's not broken. You're not broken. Your life isn't broken. Your world isn't broken. Your business isn't broken. We have experienced trauma. We have experienced pain, hardship, so many different things. And I think what the important thing is, and I yeah, Spirit, thank you. The whole thing with this full moon on Thursday, resilience. And what's interesting about moons is that, you know, it started, whatever you are releasing right now and becoming more resilient to, it started 6 months ago when we had the Capricorn new moon at the beginning of the year, or right at the end of 24. I think we had 2 Capricorn moons. It was a wild time. But there's something that's going to step forward for you, and it's going to show you like, holy shit, I am resilient. I can bounce back. I've got it. For those of you who are manifesting generators or generators, all right, you make up 70% of the population because you are sacrally defined. All right, you are sacral energy people. And I want you to just know right off the bat that even when you have your darkest moments, your lowest points, there is that sacral energy that's firing up, and you cannot stay down for long. And you will remember this about yourself, okay? The times that have been the hardest and the most straining to you, and you got really hard on yourself, and it was really difficult, and it was hurtful and scary and sad and frustrating and all of those things to feel such a low pit in your life, right? But even in those lowest points where you didn't know where to go, you didn't know what to do, you didn't have the answers, you weren't sure if the ground was going to be there to meet you when you took your next step, or if you were just going to come plummeting down to a pit of destruction. Even in those moments, your sacral energy fired right back the fuck up, and you did something. And nobody who is a manifesting generator or a generator can tell me that they didn't. Maybe you had a week where it was off. Maybe you had a few days where you did absolutely nothing. That is okay. And the fact is that there are many times in my life where I've hit low points where I thought to myself, what if I can't come back from this? What if everything that I'm doing isn't going to work? What if I never get back to being myself again, and this just took so much out of me that I can't restore, I can't replenish, right? Well, not when you have sacral energy, my friends. When you have sacral energy, you can hit those pits, you can hit those lulls, but that sacral energy right above your root is charged, and it's going and it wants to activate, and it wants to energize. So the energy for us is always there to get things done and do stuff. But that does not mean that you should always be doing things. That does not mean that you should always be taking on new things. One of the challenges of being a Mani-Gen and a generator is the fact that you will say yes to things because the energy is available. You will overcommit things because the energy is there and you can feel it. Somebody will say like, hey, do you want to go do this on Friday? And it's Monday, and you'll be like, oh yeah, that sounds great. And then by the time Thursday comes, you're like, I don't think I really want to do that. Why did I say yes? Shit. Oh my God. Now I feel like a douchebag because I don't want to do this, and I can't really cancel, but I want to cancel, and I would feel bad if I cancel. So you know these situations that you get yourself into, but if you don't start really working with that energy, then you're going to keep hitting these plummets. You're going to keep hitting these pitfalls of like, I'm exhausted, I have no energy, and then the energy revs up and you're like, oh my God, it's back. I'm going to be consistent. I'm going to show up every day. And you do that for like 4 days, and then you're like, I'm tired, I don't want to do anything. And then you feel guilty. So if you don't know how your energy type functions, now is the time, okay? Now is the time. Right now, I have openings to jump into the Academy of Astro HD Alchemy, which is a 6-month group coaching container. I am also opening up a masterclass, which is I'm going to teach that on Friday. And replays will be there. It'll be a live masterclass. I don't care how many people are live or on the replay. Like, it's being taught either way. It's $44. You can jump in. Academy of Astro HD Alchemy is $2,000 for 6 months. The price is going up. Okay. And with the Academy of Astro HD Alchemy, you will be taught all things human design and astrology. And the thing about this that I really love is that it's not just for you. Okay. I don't use it just for me. I use it for my family. I use it for my clients. I use it in my business. This is huge because a projector is so freaking different than a mani-gen or a generator. And there are nuances between the mani-gen and the generator as well, right? But the projector has no defined sacral energy. Neither does the manifestor or the reflector. There's 5 different energy types. So if you're telling a projector to go, 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 because you have the energy to go, 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 go as a mani-gen or a generator, that projector is screwed because they don't function that way. They are the people that are here to guide and manage things. They are brokering relationships and trading wisdom for money. They don't have the sacral energy to keep going and going and going and going. They don't have it. So if you have a client who's a projector, you've got to coach that client in a way that is going to make sense for a projector. Same as a manifestor. They're here to initiate things and they will stop. Like if you have a manifestor as a client and you're like, I was totally just ghosted by this person, everything was going great, and now where are they? You probably have a manifestor, okay? And they will plot, twist, and pivot very quickly. And the thing is that they're here to initiate things, but they have to inform people. So they get very angry about stuff in their life because they're doing things and they're making all of these big, like, initiating things in their life. Like they're kicking up a lot of momentum and energy by starting new things, but they're not telling people what they're doing. And so because of that, they end up kind of closing off the energy or messing with the energy, and they will end up very angry about that. So manifestors get angry, projectors who are out of alignment get very bitter, generators and mani-gens who are frustrated, with our results. Like these are the parts of us that it's like something's not working. We've got to get you back on track, okay? And so this is what I'm teaching in that particular program. And so it's hot seat coaching, it's pre-recorded lectures, it's live training and lectures, it's a lot of stuff, and it's all about astrology, human design, and learning how to work with that in your life, in your business, with your clients, with your family, with everybody that you desire, because I've used it for my family and it is very interesting. Michael's a generator, and we're both 1-3s, weird. And then both of the girls are manifesting generators like me. And so everybody in the house is sacrally active. Okay. So we're constantly doing stuff. I think people look at our family sometime and they're like, they're psychotic, like they are constantly, they always have multiple different things going on. The kids are busy. We're busy. Like we're constantly doing things, and they're not all the same things. Okay. They're different things. It's a variety of things, which is what I think actually overwhelms people when they see like our family. They're like, how do you do all of these different things and still like have time? And really we're generators and manifesting generators, and so it makes a lot of sense, but that can be very overwhelming to a projector, a reflector, or a manifestor. So their energy is going to be utilized very different than ours. And if you are coaching somebody like that, then it's really important for you to understand how their energy flows so that you can coach them properly and get them to their goals so much faster. And when you are in alignment with your own energy and your own voice and your own message and how you want to position yourself and who you want to serve and how you want to serve them, it becomes quite effortless over time instead of utilizing other people's strategies so often, and then feeling like this person did it and it was really successful, and then when I did it, it was a total freaking flop. And I have experienced that so many times in my life where it was like, oh my God, like I love this person and I love the work that they're doing. And I was like, oh my gosh, like how did you do that? How did you put that together? And so they shared their strategy with me. I utilize it and I'm like, really? Worked very well for them. What the fuck happened with me, right? And so that's where I started realizing that like my strategy is in my Mercury. My strategy is in my Mercury. My strategy is in my human design. My strategy is in the house of my Mercury. My strategy is in my nodes. My strategy is like my strategies and my messaging and my positioning and my brand is all in my human design and astrology. And when you pinpoint that, it's like putting the most magical puzzle together. All right. And so anybody who's interested, I have 5 sessions available for uncensored. Okay. I am going to be teaching a masterclass called Uncensored on Friday, okay? And actually, what Uncensored is going to be all about is you want to learn how to market your business from your undefined centers, okay? So the centers in your human design body graph are pretty much just like your chakras, except in human design you have 9 centers and not just like the 7 primary ones that are in your traditional chakra system. So there are nine centers, and so like for me, I have 5 defined centers and I have 4 undefined centers. And what I do with this is I utilize the undefined energy because that's where all of your conditioning lands. And then what you utilize that conditioning for is wisdom. And you probably don't realize that you're already using the wisdom of your undefined centers. But when you utilize the energy of those centers and you formulate your messaging around it, something very magical happens because things start to go and like line up. You know what I mean? Like you're finding cohesiveness and congruency with your energetics and what you're actually broadcasting to the world. When you utilize other people's strategies that are not in alignment with your energetics, that's where you keep finding like, why am I being cut off? Why is this being blocked? Why is this not happening? Why did I do this? And then still feeling frustrated with the results. So if you purchase one of the uncensored sessions, you will get automatic entry into the uncensored masterclass, okay? If you jump into the Academy of Astro HD Alchemy, you will get free access to the masterclass, okay? And then you have 6 months of being a part of a really incredible group coaching container with a private community and all pre-recorded lessons and stuff like that that you keep. I think that was it. All right, so lots of energy going on. Tell me how this feels. Tell me what house your Uranus is in, which house Capricorn is ruling for you. I asked everybody yesterday where their Neptune was, and I know quite a few of the people that responded, and so I saw this very clearly in their lives, and I'm very happy for you because I can see where the veil is going to be pulled back for you to connect with some very true, real, new vision of your life and your future and things that are very authentic for you, and starting to break free of that old story to create a new narrative that reflects exactly where you're going and who you have become through your evolution and who you are continuing to become. So I hope everybody has a great week. I know the energy might feel a little wonky right now, but you are going to get through it. You are powerful, you are strong, you are magnetic, you are empowered, and you are beautiful. You are a beautiful soul that came here to do extraordinary things. So remember that when you are, taking your next steps and pivoting and figuring out what is correct for you. If anybody has questions, please connect with me, and I wish you all a really, really beautiful week. Mwah! Bye for now.